Disclaimer: this content is only for mature audiences. Viewer discretion is advised. It was a quiet evening, the kind that carries a hint of something more, a breeze that whispered promises of change. Elena, a graceful white Russian woman with a heart full of love and a spirit that had seen its share of storms, stood by the window of their cozy suburban home. The golden glow of sunset poured across the wooden floor, wrapping her in light as she waited. Her husband, Adam, a tall and gentle man with eyes that always seemed to be searching deeper, had been distant lately, kind, yes, but different. That night, something was going to shift, she could feel it. They had been married for 5 years, living what seemed like a picture-perfect life. But every relationship, even the most loving ones, carries layers, some joyful, some mysterious. Elena had always been curious about the deeper parts of her husband's heart, the things he rarely shared. And tonight, he was ready to open that door, literally and emotionally. As she walked into the bedroom, Adam quietly turned the key in the lock behind her. His voice was calm, but firm. "Tonight, I want you to just trust me, to let go." The moment hung in the air, heavy with anticipation. Her heart pounded, not out of fear, but something else. Something thrilling. He wasn't angry. He wasn't demanding. He was simply asking her to explore a new layer of intimacy. To listen, to follow, and maybe, to discover something in herself she hadn't known was there. "Do you trust me?" he asked, taking her hands in his. She looked into his eyes, searching for a sign. But all she found was warmth, and something deeper, desire and love, tangled in mystery. There was no shouting, no pressure. Just two people navigating the unspoken territories of a long-term relationship. Elena wasn't afraid, she was intrigued. And maybe even a little excited. Was this what real connection meant? Being willing to follow someone you love into the unknown, trusting that they'll catch you if you fall? Or was she about to learn something that might change everything? As the door clicked shut and the room grew quiet, the rest of the world seemed to fade away. Only the sound of their breathing remained. What followed next, well, it would reshape the way Elena saw love, intimacy, and trust forever. What would you do if your partner asked you to surrender control, just for one night? Would you say yes? Tell us in the comments below. What does real trust mean to you in a relationship? Vote in the poll to share how far you'd go for love, and don't forget to subscribe so you don't miss the next part of this deeply emotional and romantic story. Elena felt her breath catch as Adam drew the curtains closed, letting the soft amber light fade into a gentle, moody twilight. The silence between them was full, not empty. It buzzed with something unspoken. They had shared years of love, laughter, and comfort, but this was different. She could sense it. Adam wasn't just being romantic tonight. He was revealing something deeper, a part of himself that had always remained hidden behind smiles, kisses, and everyday routine. Their love story had never been about wild drama or movie-like moments. It was built slowly, through trust and simple acts, sharing coffee on chilly mornings, fixing broken shelves together, holding hands during hard times. But even in the most loving relationships, there's always a layer that goes untouched, waiting for the right moment to surface. Tonight, Adam seemed to be peeling back that final curtain. As Elena stood still, unsure of what he wanted from her, she couldn't help but wonder, what changed? Was he holding something back all these years? Or was he just finally ready to show her the real depth of his feelings? His actions weren't threatening. They were thoughtful. But there was a weight in the air, something she couldn't quite name. When he gently led her to the edge of the bed and looked at her without saying a word, she felt a strange mix of fear and fascination. She remembered their early days, when he had flown all the way to St. Petersburg just to see her for the first time. His awkward smile at the airport. The way his hands shook when he held hers for the first time. Their connection had always been deep, but this side of him, confident, quiet, and a little commanding, was new. Not bad, just unfamiliar. Elena sat down, her heart still racing. He touched her cheek and said, "You don't have to do anything you're not comfortable with. I just want us to try something different. Something closer." His words were soft, but they stirred something inside her. Was this the beginning of a new chapter in their marriage? Or was there something more he wasn't telling her? And just as he leaned in to kiss her forehead, the sound of a message alert buzzed from his phone on the nightstand. Elena's eyes shifted, curiosity igniting. Who could be messaging him at this moment? Before we move to the next part, let us know in the comments, do you believe real love means exploring the unknown together, or should some boundaries stay untouched in a relationship? Elena's eyes stayed locked on the phone for a second too long. The screen dimmed before she could catch the name. Adam didn't seem to notice. His attention was still on her, his hand brushing a strand of hair behind her ear like he always did when he was trying to say something serious. But now, that gesture felt different. She couldn't shake the feeling that whatever was in that message might explain the sudden shift in him. This night wasn't just about intimacy, it was about something deeper, something he hadn't said out loud yet. "Is everything okay?" she asked gently, not wanting to break the moment but needing to know. Adam hesitated, just a fraction, and then nodded. "Yeah. It's just. I've been thinking a lot lately about how easy it is to let routine take over. I don't want that to happen to us." He looked away for a beat before meeting her gaze again. "I want more for us, Elena. I want to feel everything again. The spark. The closeness. All of it." His words were touching, but there was still something underneath them, a tension she couldn't ignore. Elena reached for his hand. "I want that too. But if something's bothering you, if there's something you're not telling me," she let the words hang in the air, hoping he would fill in the silence. But Adam only smiled, kissed her forehead, and whispered, "Just trust me tonight." As he turned away to adjust the lights, Elena's mind started racing. Was it just the stress of work? He had been coming home late more often. Or maybe it was her, had she changed without noticing? Her thoughts were spinning with doubts, but she tried to pull herself back. This was her husband. The man who made her tea when she had a cold. The man who once cried watching their wedding video on their second anniversary. But the message kept flashing in her mind. Who was it from? And why now? Meanwhile, Adam's own thoughts were tangled. He wasn't lying, he truly wanted to reconnect. But part of him was afraid. Afraid of what Elena might think if she knew the whole truth. There was someone from his past who had reappeared recently, someone who knew him before he became the calm, reliable man Elena married. Someone who still held a piece of a version of himself he thought he had let go of. As he sat beside her on the bed, wrapping an arm around her shoulders, the weight of that secret pressed harder. He wasn't cheating. He wasn't planning to leave. But the reappearance of an old friend, someone who once shared a reckless part of his life, was stirring questions about who he really was. And what kind of man he wanted to be for Elena. What would happen if that message had been from her? Could he explain it without breaking Elena's trust? Now it's your turn, what do you think Adam is hiding? And should Elena press him more, or give him the space he's asking for? Drop your thoughts in the comments and tell us what you'd do in her place. Don't forget to like and subscribe so you don't miss the twist in the next part. The air in the room grew heavier, not because of the temperature but from the thick, unspoken words hanging between them. Elena leaned slightly into Adam's arm, her head resting on his shoulder, but her thoughts were far from settled. She could feel the shift, not just in him, but in herself. It wasn't just about intimacy anymore. This night, which began with whispers of love and trust, now sat on the edge of something much bigger. Something neither of them had planned. Adam's phone buzzed again. This time, he reached over and flipped its screen down, avoiding her eyes. Elena didn't say a word, but her heart dropped a little. He was hiding something, and now she was sure of it. Yet, she still didn't want to accuse him. Their love was real, she knew that. But secrets, even small ones, could grow in the dark. What if this was the beginning of distance they couldn't come back from? She stood up, slowly, walking to the window without a word. The sky outside was now deep blue, stars barely breaking through the clouds. The silence between them felt louder than any fight. "Do you remember our first night together in Moscow?" she asked suddenly, her voice soft but pointed. Adam looked up, a mix of nostalgia and unease in his eyes. "Of course I do," he said. "I remember everything about that night." "Then you know why I'm asking," she said without turning. "Because back then, there were no locked doors. No hidden messages. Just us, being honest. Being fearless." Adam stood slowly, walking toward her, but stopping a few steps behind. "I haven't forgotten who we are. I didn't expect this message to come tonight. From her." That one word, her, froze Elena. She turned slowly, her expression unreadable. "Her," she echoed. "Who is she, Adam?" He hesitated, rubbing the back of his neck. "It's no one I'm involved with now. It's just someone from before. She said she's in town. Wanted to talk." The room felt colder suddenly, though nothing had changed. Elena's mind was racing with questions she wasn't sure she wanted answered. Who was this woman? Why now? And why had he kept it a secret? Just as she opened her mouth to speak, a knock echoed through the hallway outside their bedroom. That knock changed everything. What do you think is waiting on the other side of that door? Should Elena open it, or should Adam? Drop your guesses in the comments and tell us, what would you do if a moment like this happened in your relationship? The knock on the door seemed to echo longer than it should have, each second stretching like a thread about to snap. Adam turned his head toward the hallway, his jaw tight, while Elena remained frozen by the window. Her heart thudded so loudly it felt like it filled the entire room. "Are you expecting someone?" she asked, already knowing the answer. Adam didn't respond right away. Instead, he walked toward the door slowly, hesitating just before touching the handle. "She said she wouldn't come here. I told her not to," he muttered, more to himself than to Elena. That sentence hit her like cold water. She's here? Her mind raced. Was this woman from Adam's past really bold enough to show up at their home? And more importantly, what did she want? Before Adam could open the door, the knock came again, softer this time, but steady. Elena stepped away from the window, suddenly needing to see who stood behind it. "Open it," she said, voice low but steady. Adam looked at her, his face drawn with guilt and something else, regret, maybe. When the door creaked open, a woman stood there, wrapped in a tan trench coat, her hair pulled back in a tight bun, lips painted with quiet confidence. She didn't smile. She didn't look surprised. Instead, she looked straight past Adam, her eyes landing on Elena. "I'm sorry to come like this," she said, her voice calm but clear. "But he wouldn't give me answers, and I need to speak with both of you." Elena's stomach turned. What kind of situation were they in now? Adam hadn't moved. He seemed paralyzed, caught between his past and his present. "Who are you?" Elena finally asked, stepping forward. The woman paused for a second and then said, "My name is Clara. Adam and I were together. A long time ago. Before you." Elena felt the blood drain from her face, but she didn't step back. "Why now?" Clara hesitated, then reached into her coat and pulled out a photo. It was old, creased at the corners, but it showed a young Adam, holding a baby. "I thought he knew," she said quietly. "But the truth is, he never saw her." Adam looked at the photo, and something in his face shifted. "Is this?" "Yes," Clara whispered. "She's yours." The silence was immediate. Not just between the three of them, but inside Elena's chest. Everything they were dealing with a moment ago, intimacy, trust, doubts, suddenly felt microscopic compared to what stood in front of them now. And yet, this changed everything. Or did it? Tell us what you think. Should Elena stand by Adam as this new truth unfolds? Or is this the kind of secret that changes love forever? Comment below, and if you think you know what happens next, take a guess. We might feature your theory in the next episode. Don't forget to like and subscribe for the next emotional turn in this romantic suspense story. The silence stretched after Clara's words, like the world had paused for a breath it wasn't ready to release. Elena's eyes shifted from the photo to Adam, searching for truth in his expression. He stared at the picture like he was seeing a ghost, haunted by a life he never knew he had helped create. "I didn't know," he whispered, his voice cracking. "Clara, you never told me." "I was scared," Clara replied. "And honestly, I was angry. We ended badly, and I didn't think you were ready to be a father. But when I saw the two of you together, it reminded me of the man you've become." She's almost 10 now. And she's starting to ask questions. Elena stepped back slightly, as if needing space to absorb the moment. She felt everything at once: shock, betrayal, confusion. But also something strange: clarity. In that moment, she saw Adam not just as her husband, but as a man with a complicated past who had tried his best to become someone better. Adam turned to her slowly. "I love you. Nothing changes that. I didn't ask for this, but maybe this is our chance to grow into something more. Together." Elena looked into his eyes and, for the first time that night, saw the fear in them, real, raw fear. Not of losing her, but of disappointing her. And that's when she realized her answer had been in her heart all along. Love, real love, isn't just about passion or romance. It's about choosing someone, even when life throws things you never expected. "I'm not walking away from this," she said firmly. "But if we do this, we do it together. No more secrets." Just as Clara nodded with quiet relief, a small voice echoed from the end of the hallway. "Mom?" A little girl peeked around the corner, her brown eyes wide with curiosity. She looked just like Adam. Everyone turned, heart stopping for one final moment of truth. But then the girl asked, "Is he my real dad?" Clara hesitated, but before she could answer, Elena bent down, smiled gently, and said, "Yes, sweetie. And we're going to figure this out together." The room felt lighter somehow. Like the storm had passed, even if the skies weren't fully clear. But just as Adam reached for Elena's hand in gratitude, his phone buzzed again. Another message. This time, it simply read, "We need to talk, it's about the night in Moscow." Who could that be? Let us know what you think is going to happen next. Was the story really over, or is there still more to uncover? Comment your theories, and stay tuned for the next twist in this loving, suspenseful journey. Adam stared at the new message for a long moment, the silence growing between him and Elena once more. She noticed it, of course. That soft shift in his eyes, the way his thumb hovered just above the screen. But this time, she didn't feel fear. She felt steady, grounded. She'd already made a choice, to stand by him, not because everything was perfect, but because real love means walking through the imperfect, together. He showed her the message without a word. It was from an old friend from his time in Moscow, someone who had disappeared years ago after one wild night that almost changed the course of his life. Elena read it, then looked up. "You should talk to them," she said simply. "But not alone. Not anymore." Over the next few weeks, things changed in quiet, meaningful ways. Clara and her daughter, Mia, began visiting regularly. It wasn't easy. There were awkward silences, difficult questions, and emotions that came and went like tides. But little by little, a rhythm began to form. Elena and Mia found a gentle connection, an unspoken understanding. And Adam, now more open than he'd ever been, began learning how to be a father. Not perfect, not sudden, but real. The message from Moscow led to a conversation that cleared a long-lost misunderstanding, something Adam had once buried out of guilt. It brought closure, not chaos. And through it, he found something unexpected: peace. He wasn't defined by his past, but he also no longer needed to hide from it. Elena and Adam didn't return to how they were before. They grew into something stronger, deeper. The trust they rebuilt wasn't fragile, it was earned. And that night, the one that began behind a locked bedroom door, wasn't about control or mystery anymore. It became the turning point in their marriage, the night where silence was finally replaced with truth. So, in the end, their love story wasn't just about passion. It was about patience, honesty, and the kind of forgiveness that doesn't forget but learns to heal. What did you think of this journey? Would you have made the same choices Elena did? Should there be a sequel where Mia's story unfolds as she grows older in this blended family? Let us know in the comments, and don't forget to like, subscribe, and share this story with someone who believes in second chances and lasting love.